So when Lisa Leslie is on Angel Reese's podcast and gets asked anything you would want me to work on going into year 2, Lisa Leslie has a laundry list she's already written out. Your layups suck. Your layups suck. You can't finish. You can't finish. You can't. Lisa Leslie had a huge list.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a basketball star's ego starts to outshine her talent? Angel Reese's new podcast, Unapologetically Angel, gives us a front row seat to just that. And wow, it's quite the show.
I don't know what the scouts were looking at. I really don't. But following the 7, God has a plan, and it is what it is. And you ended up in Chicago, but I'm just telling you.
Going into season,
you were ready.
Thank you. Going into my season 2, what's some advice that you would give for me?
From WNBA legends, poking fun at her layups to shockingly low viewership numbers, Angel Reese's attempt to stay in the spotlight seems to be backfiring in the most awkward way. And you won't believe what her own mentor, Lisa Leslie, had to say about her performance. Stick around as we break down the drama that's got the basketball world buzzing. Ready? Let's dive in. Here's the crazy part. Angel Reese just can't seem to escape Caitlin Clark's shadow, even on her own platform. She started Unapologetically Angel to give fans a glimpse into her life off the court, but it's unintentionally become a comedy of errors. No matter who the guest is or what topic they start with, every episode somehow circles right back to, you guessed it, Caitlin Clark.
Reese on the Unapologetically Clout-Chasing Caitlin Clark podcast. I think that's what it's called. Unapologetic Clout Chasing of Caitlin Clark podcast. Hosted by Angel Reese.
It's as if Caitlin Clark has become an invisible guest star on Unapologetically Angel, one that Reese just can't seem to avoid. But the question is, who's really driving this narrative? Are the guests constantly bringing up Clark, or is Reese herself subconsciously steering every conversation towards Clark Island? You've got to wonder what's really going on in Reese's mind. Is it fierce rivalry, hidden admiration, or is Clark simply that much of a powerhouse in women's basketball? Episode after episode, the pattern is impossible to ignore. One moment, Reese is sharing her favorite pre-game rituals, and the next, bam! Someone's raving about Clark's latest record-breaking feat. It's almost comical how predictably the conversation shifts. Fans on social media are having a blast with this, even joking that the podcast should be renamed The Caitlin Clark Show, hosted by Angel Reese.
Because of women's basketball, whenever you think of Angel Reese, people often mention Caitlin Clark. You've said in interviews, there's no beef, but the media keeps going on. This is your platform. So how do you feel about that situation?
I think just being able to be in that moment of it happening, you never realize how something can literally change your life. And knowing my 5 fingers and my other finger pointing at my hand could literally have changed my life for forever is crazy.
But here's where it gets interesting. This Clark-centric content might actually be working in Reese's favor. Think about it. Every time Clark's name pops up, it brings more eyes to Reese's podcast. Basketball analysts are catching on too. They've noticed that Reese's efforts to spotlight her own journey often get overshadowed by the constant talk of Clark's accomplishments.
Why do you think people love Caitlin Clark, besides her skills?
She can shoot threes from logo.
We never seen that before. That's my point. Steph Curry, a little kid. Like Steph Curry, I love, you know why I love Steph Curry? Because I've never seen that before.
You've got to wonder how all of this is impacting Reese's image and the original vision she had for her podcast. Did she plan to create a platform where she'd be endlessly compared to Clark? Or is this just an unexpected twist in the Angel Reese narrative? It's a delicate balance between staying relevant and appearing fixated. And right now, it's hard to tell which side Reese is leaning towards. Ready to hear what her so-called mentor had to say about her?
Lisa Leslie appears on Angel Reese's podcast, Unapologetically Angel. She gives angels some advice. Just a hint, it has to do with her layup.
If you thought the Caitlin Clark comparisons were rough, wait until you hear about Angel Reese's latest podcast episode. Things took an unexpectedly awkward turn when WNBA legend Lisa Leslie joined her on Unapologetically Angel. Fans probably expected some lighthearted conversation and maybe a few words of wisdom. Instead, they got a front row seat to what can only be described as a public roasting. Leslie didn't hold back. In fact, she kept it brutally real.
Going into my season 2, what's some advice that you would give for me?
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups. Period.
Let's break this down, shall we? Lisa Leslie, two-time WNBA champion and one of the most dominant figures in women's basketball history, didn't waste any time getting straight to the point. She looked Reese square in the eye and delivered this brutal piece of advice. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups. Period. Ouch. Just imagine trying to host your own show while your basketball idol basically calls out your basic skills. But wait, it gets better, or worse, depending on how you see it.
It's just a fact. She is, it's more than a fact. She is not good at layups. But I was looking at her stats. I jotted some down right here, and she shoots an abysmal 39% from the field. She shot below 50% on shots less than 5 feet away, which is bad. And even worse than that is that shots from 5 to 9 feet, 13%.
Leslie didn't just stop at critiquing Reese's layup form, she went full statistician mode. She pointed out that Reese averaged a disappointing 39.1% from the field during her rookie season. For those who aren't basketball buffs, that's pretty underwhelming, especially considering that Reese was shooting below 50% on shots less than 5 feet from the basket. That's basically missing half your attempts right at the rim, the easiest spot to score from.
This is like WNBA leveling up and all eyes on her now. I think that she knows that she has to completely restructure her form, because that is not the way to be efficient in the post position that she is in. At the post position that she's in, a layup is supposed to be a given. She needs to improve her touch around the rim, like all over the place, but she seems to take these desperation shots.
Now, just imagine the scene. Reese, probably sweating bullets, trying to keep her composure as Leslie keeps serving up these brutal truths. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck, and you just can't look away. The tension in that studio must have been thick enough to cut with a knife. And let's not forget, this is the same Angel Reese who faced stat padding allegations all season long. So much so that her coach ended up getting fired. Even Kennedy Carter threw some shade her way on her way out of Chicago.
Kennedy Carter Instagram account right here, guys. And I'm here to tell you, bruh, she been going on a little rant all night long. Now, this is the tweet right here that kind of sparked everything. She stated, I think the ability to consistently make layups just put anyone in a different tier. So important to score easy. Now, a lot of people is insinuating that this tweet is towards Angel Reese.
Here's the thing about pro athletes. They love spilling the tea on social media. And when it comes to the Chicago Sky, Kennedy Carter just turned up the heat to a boiling point. You know those cryptic tweets that leave you thinking, what's the real story here? Well, Carter dropped one that had everyone connecting the dots faster than you can say, layup. Carter tweeted about the importance of making layups. Seems innocent enough, right? Wrong. See, Angel Reese had been struggling with her layups all season, with a dismal success rate of just 42.4%, the worst in the WNBA. That's not just bad, it's maybe underhand bad. Out of 130 attempts, Reese only managed to sink 36. Ouch.
Just like I've been telling y'all, bro. She has been making it her business to sneak this Angel Reese every chance she get. Now, since she's been cut, it look even more obvious. Somebody said, LOL, you ate down. Now, this tweet right here just popped up here. Somebody tried to come into the defense of her because we know she's a free agent. So, like, if you throw ex-teammates under the bus, that's going to hurt you even more.
But wait, there's more. When a fan shared a graphic showing Reese's layup percentages, Carter couldn't resist chiming in. Her comment? Translation for those who don't speak Twitter. You nailed it. Subtle as a sledgehammer, right? This public critique isn't just about Reese's layups or shooting percentages. It points to bigger concerns about her playing style and approach to the game. When someone of Lisa Leslie's stature takes the time to break down your weaknesses so thoroughly, it's a clear sign that these issues go beyond rookie jitters or minor flaws.
Has nobody mentioned this to Angel Reese through 17 to 23 years old? So every time she would meet a legend or meet somebody in the WNBA, meet a player, instead of saying, hey, Angel, let me talk to you real quick. Instead of looking out for her, you guys just do this again, because it's okay. It's okay.
You've got to wonder, what does this do to Reese's relationship with Leslie? Is this the end of their mentorship, or could it be the wake-up call Reese desperately needs? Because let's face it, when a legend like Lisa Leslie tells you to fix something, you'd better listen. But hold up, this wasn't the first time someone called out Reese on her own podcast. Just when you thought things couldn't get more awkward, enter Shaquille O'Neal, her self-proclaimed father figure. Instead of offering a shoulder to cry on after Leslie's critique, Shaq came in ready to drop some truth bombs of his own. And trust me, these weren't your average fatherly nuggets of wisdom.
Oh, she can't be rookie of the year because all she do is do the flip shots, get them out. Just remember all that shit that they say.
You'd think having a big legend like Shaq in your corner would be a dream come true, right? Well, for Angel Reese, it turned into more of a nightmare. O'Neal didn't just critique her game, he went full savage mode, leaving Reese and her fans absolutely stunned.
You know who you are? You're the female Antoine Jameson. You know who Antoine Jameson is? He got 20,000 points with his shot. Whatever your shot is. Like, everybody's shot ain't gonna be Steph Curry. Your shot is your shot.
Let's start with the comparison that had everyone's jaws on the floor. Shaq likened Angel Reese to, wait for it, Antawn Jameson. If you're scratching your head wondering who that is, you're not alone. Jameson had a solid NBA career, sure, but he's not exactly Hall of Fame material. This comparison wasn't just unexpected, it was a straight-up reality check for Reese, who's probably been dreaming of GOAT status. But Shaq wasn't done. He then took aim at Reese's layup technique and didn't hold back. She can't be rookie of the year because all she do is the flip shots, O'Neal said, not mincing words. Ouch, that's got to sting, especially coming from a guy who dominated the paint like nobody's business.
Called her Antoine Jameson. Most people, trust me, she was offended.
She didn't know who that was.
She probably does. She's a basketball fan. She probably does. But, I mean, Antoine Jameson ain't cracking nobody's top 200 in NBA history. And this woman thinks she's one of the greatest WNBA players or greatest women's basketball player of all time.
You know what's wild? This public roasting session wasn't just Shaq being Shaq. It was his way of giving Reese a wake-up call. O'Neal's tough love approach is legendary, and he clearly believes Reese has the potential to be great. But here's the thing. Potential doesn't mean a thing if you're not willing to put in the work and address your weaknesses. Shaq told Reese to stop comparing herself to others, but then he goes ahead and brings up the Jameson comparison. It's almost like he's saying, don't worry about what others are doing, but also, you're not as good as you think you are. Talk about mixed messages.
I just called her a role player, not a star, certainly not a superstar, not a legend. Hey, you know, you remind me of Antoine Jameson. Oh, nice player. Put up 20,000 points. No one's really heard of him. I think Antoine played at North Carolina. Anyway, Shaq slams Angel Reese to her face.
This whole situation puts Reese in a tough spot. On one hand, she's got one of the greatest centers of all time taking an interest in her career. That's huge. But on the other hand, having your flaws exposed on your own podcast? That's got to be humbling, to say the least. Here's the thing, though. As cringeworthy as this podcast episode was, it might be exactly what Angel Reese needs. Sometimes, it takes a harsh dose of reality to spark that fire inside you. And who better to deliver that reality check than Shaquille O'Neal? The man knows a thing or two about dominating in the paint and leaving a lasting legacy in basketball.
Shaquille O'Neal knows talent when he sees it. Shaquille O'Neal knows a baller when he sees it.
The big question now is, how will Reese respond? Will she take Shaq's critique to heart and work on improving her game, or will she brush it off and continue down the same path? Her reaction to this public tough love could be a defining moment in her young career.
If Angel Reese has only heard your form is awful from us, the internet conglomerate, from the Twitter conglomerate, if that is the only time Angel Reese has heard her form is shaky, her release is like she's shot putting on these layups, if that's the only... Everybody in her life has let her down.
Turns out, Shaq's critique might be the least of Angel Reese's problems right now. The new 3-on-3 league, Unrivaled, is living up to its name, but in all the wrong ways. Remember when Reese claimed to be the reason people tune into women's basketball? Well, she was supposed to be the biggest draw for this new league, but the numbers are in, and they paint a very different picture. Let's talk ratings. Unrivaled is barely scraping by with 100,000 viewers per game after its opening weekend. That's not just bad, it's catastrophic. We're talking about a show featuring one of the most talked about names in women's basketball, and it's pulling in fewer viewers than your average cat video on TikTok.
Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing. Zero zip, nothing. Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Not I.
But why is Unrivaled tanking so hard? Is it Reese's on-court performance that's turning viewers off, or is there more to this ratings disaster? Well, when your layup percentage is sitting at a dismal 42.4%, it's hard to keep fans glued to their screens. That's right. Reese is missing more layups than she's making, especially when she's playing so close to the basket. It's like watching a professional chef burn toast. The fans aren't holding back either. Social media is having a field day with Reese's struggles. One fan didn't mince words, saying, "You need to work on them layups. You can't shoot a layup to save your life." Ouch. When your own supporters are roasting you this hard, you know you've got problems.
And it's hilarious because it's my understanding now, she keeps telling us, Angel Reese keeps telling us that it's not just Caitlin Clark, that she's part of this brigade of women's basketball players that are leading all these new viewers into the WNBA. And I think it's these ratings right here that prove the biggest point.
Even Reese herself seems to be feeling the heat. In a recent podcast episode, she tried to put a positive spin on things, saying, "Do you realize I got drafted 7th in my class while missing layups as a rookie, shooting 39% on the year, and was still an all-star? And that was the worst you'll ever see me." It's a valiant attempt at damage control, but when your defense boils down to, "I can't possibly get worse," you might want to rethink your strategy.
This is more statistical data that proves nobody's tuning in to see Angel Reese.
The reality is, other women's basketball content is thriving while Unrivaled flounders. Fans are clearly hungry for women's basketball. They're just not hungry for what Reese is serving up. It's like she's trying to sell lukewarm hot dogs at a 5-star restaurant. And it's not just Reese feeling the pain. The Big Shot Chicago. Sky's overall performance has been less than stellar, with Reese's struggles contributing to the team's lack of success. It's a perfect storm of bad basketball and worse PR, leaving Reese's brand and public perception in tatters.
Angel Reese is the most unskilled basketball player in the history of basketball, in my opinion. She has no skill. She has energy, she has an attitude, she'll rebound you the basketball, great. Nothing else. She has not, she's got self-awareness. She knows that she's not a very good basketball player. That's why she spends so much time half naked and taking pictures and promoting things that have nothing to do with basketball.
Angel, Reese's podcast journey has taken an unexpected turn, revealing the pitfalls of self-promotion in the age of social media. Despite the criticism she's faced, Reese has shown a glimmer of self-awareness and a desire to improve. In a recent episode, she acknowledged her shooting struggles, saying, "I know I can hit the shots, but it's just going into it with that mindset." This admission hints at a potential turning point for the young player. The basketball world is watching closely. Will Reese use this feedback as fuel for growth, or will she double down on her current path? One thing's for sure. When you invite guests to your podcast, you never know what they might say. Reese's journey serves as a cautionary tale about the fine line between confidence and overconfidence in the world of sports. As she navigates this challenge, fans and critics alike are eager to see if she can transform her on-court performance to match her off-court ambitions. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.